Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another episode of Did You Know? As you know, alhamdulillah, we've been having like amazing guests talk about things that are relevantly timely, especially from, coming from entrepreneurship, how to be the best version of yourself. And amazingly, we have been having amazing guests. And every day I go and search for the best person to have the best conversation with so that you'll be motivated to become the best version of yourself. But before we kickstart this program, stay tuned and we will be right back. Welcome back. My guest for today is none other than Habibah Waziri. Actually, she said I spelled her name wrongly, so now I have to put the Harun at the end of it. Habibah, good to have you on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Jazakillah khair. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it.
Alhamdulillah, thanks for having me.
You know, when I was going through your page, so what we do in this show is that we don't interview just anybody. For us, we find people that we think can impact humanity, can, help a lot of young people out there. And you coming from the northern part of the country and seeing what you've done, I was like, I'm going to reach out to you. So I spoke to Aisha. I said, please, I want to interview this woman. Yeah. And she said, okay, no problem. She sent me your number. And I reached out the first day, no response. I said, hey, khalas, this is very busy. she's very busy. But alhamdulillah, you reached out back. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Alhamdulillah, thanks for having me.
Jazakallah khair. Yeah. So let's start with this, right? Habibah, take me down history lane, right? Let me understand the kind of person you were in your younger days to get to the kind of woman you are now.
Okay, thank you for spelling my name right. Because the H means so much to me, and I'll tell you why. Yeah. So you spell it front and back.
Oh yeah. Oh, it makes sense now.
Yeah, that's why I insist upon it, because
Mashallah.
It's called a palindrome. And it's one of the only few 7-letter names that you can spell.
Maybe I name my daughter that and she'll be happy.
Oh, she's going to be unique.
Inshallah.
Yeah, so growing up, I was a tomboy. Most people, I don't know, maybe somewhere not. I was heavily into sports. I played every single sport except tennis.
Oh, wow.
Every single one.
Everything?
I used to run. I used to, mountain climb. I used to do marathons. Basketball, football, obviously, all those ones, volleyball. I don't know. I have to ask my teachers. I'm not sure if they will call me like a great student. I hated sitting in front.
Did you like math?
I was horrible.
Same thing, I hated math.
Horrible. I think I got like a D or something. Maybe like E, like that bad. Right. But what I always knew was that I wanted to do something that was interesting. I don't know what it was.
Right.
And I just kept moving. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll be a pilot. Fought my way into being a pilot. Finally, my parents agreed, and then we settled on maybe I should just do engineering because, having a backup plan was always very important. So I went to England for that.
Right.
It was one of the most difficult things I've ever done in my life. And after I graduated, I knew I was never going to practice engineering, ever. Right. Okay. Then I went to get my MBA, which was a very smart decision. I did that, and I realized I was very good with strategy. My thought process was always different. The way I saw things were different. My professors used to say that. I didn't know that at that point.
Right.
I worked at 2 different places when I came back, and then I ended up going into entrepreneurship, mainly because I worked at a public sector office at that point, but we didn't do anything. So I knew I was never going to work there. So yeah, I stumbled into entrepreneurship, and alhamdulillah, I'm here today. I don't know how to explain what my journey is, but honestly, it's just trial and error. Yeah.
So, from this, I just understand that you were boxed into something and you got yourself out of it, right? Which a lot of people today, we might be doing something particular, but leaving that particular thing to go to something different is a long journey. I want you to take me through that experience for you, Didn't you think that, oh no, if I leave engineering, something might happen to me, and you just jumped into MBA and the likes of it? How was that thought process for you, if you can remember?
Honestly, I don't remember how I went from engineering to MBA. All I know is that my dad was a very big part of that decision. his rationale was that I was always a science student.
Right.
But I'd never done business studies, economics, anything. So he was like, broaden your horizon, go and get an MBA. He has an MBA.
Right.
And then the MBA university was the first to give my admission.
Amazing.
Where the other ones that I wanted did not come through. So again, I remember part of the decision why I did the MBA was because of him. And I mean, listen, these are times where you have to say, thank God I listened. Because now imagine if I don't have an MBA, what am I going to be doing?
It's gonna be
I don't
a lot.
know. It's gonna be a completely different thing. But
You perhaps you won't be sitting here, maybe.
Maybe. How? I don't even want to think about that life.
Amazing. So, what was the first job you got?
Am I allowed to say the name of the place?
Okay, yeah, you're allowed.
Maybe I shouldn't.
Okay.
It's an agency under the presidency. I did my NYSC there.
Right.
And we were reviewing documents that were already reviewed by the past corpers. And we had a very strict schedule. So we needed to be in the office at 8, couldn't leave till 5. Worst 1 year of my life. I just felt so redundant.
I'm glad you didn't mention the name of the place, which is good.
I'm so glad I didn't mention it as well. But one person there that I remember was a very, very kind man. He was head of HR at the place, and he would always give me advice. He's like, why do you come late to work? I'm like, because I don't do anything. And he's like, yes, but you still need to come and learn. I'm like, I know, I don't want to learn anything. There's nothing for me to learn. You know, when you're young, you don't really listen so much. Yeah. You talk so much. And I found out that his daughter and my youngest brother went to the same school.
Amazing.
You know, but he was a very... when you find someone that would motivate you even when you don't understand it, when you look back and you realize that you're like, okay, well, he was really looking out for me. Amazing. And purely just out of, maybe he saw my potential or something, I don't know. But yeah, I remember that experience, but I knew I didn't want to work in public sector at that point. Right. So that's how I entered into the private sector. Talking
about, this particular man you met, for me, I've always been saying, like, throughout 2023, my TEDx talk, I was telling a lot of people that a lot of young people need someone to take them somewhere within them so they cannot go by themselves, right? Someone who has been there, done that, like a mentor, somebody who will, appreciate you and help you to become the best version of yourself. Yeah. And sometimes when I go to places, so I personally just did my NYSC in Jais Bank. When I did the NYSC in Jais Bank, I promised myself that I'm not going to work anymore because the work life wasn't for me. So from there, I began to do business, right? But what kept me till now are the mentors and the people I met. And just the way you met this one man, that you remember him today, which amazingly, if he's watching this interview, he'll be so happy as well. Why? Because of one thing he did. He was genuine to you, he was kind and the likes of it, right? So we'll still come back to the issue of mentorship. But tell me, you've empowered more than 3,000 people in the sense that you've mentored them, you've passed information to businesses, startups and the likes of it. Have you ever experienced, a situation that stand out the most for you? And what did you learn from that?
That number is, it's always, if it doesn't feel real, so you hear it over and over again. And we haven't even updated our stats from last year. Amazing. So I know it's like far beyond that number. Yeah. I always give reference to, 2 people. One was my personal assistant. When I first started this company, when I tell you, like, he was there with me in the gutter. Someone that was there, he believed in what I was doing. He also did his best to learn as much as he could. He also knew that it was more like a bridge for him to get to where he was going to. So as much as I wanted to help him, either give him employment, give him an opportunity, he was also of value. Then on the other side, another person who came to work with me at another place. He did his NYSC there, and we hired 2 people. He stood out because his personality was just, you can't break me. Both of these 2 young men, after I've known them for about 3 years, worked with them each for a year, are now business owners. Sure. And they come to me and we work as partners now. So if we have any trainings that we want to do, we hire them to do that training. And we started as them being my employees. Don't forget, we're all young. me and them, you know?
Right.
And that is, I always give that example because they had faith in me as much as I had faith in them. And they believed in what I was saying. They were open to learning. But I could also see that they were here with me, but they were not going to be there forever. So I made it more worthwhile for them because I encouraged them to like go out there as well. You know, so it was.
Let me cut you short there. You
Sure.
know, amazingly, right?
Yeah.
A friend of mine, I was telling him that we live in a generation today where mentors or people who train you don't want to let you go, right? They want you to be there. So they don't tell you, oh, you need to open a company, you need to start thinking about your life, you need to start thinking of how you make money.
Yeah.
So this turned out the most for me, and for me this is really personal. What you just said right now, that you were able to see the fact that okay, they can do like amazing stuff, and you push them to achieve that.
Yeah.
And one amazing thing I got to realize as well is that so many people might want you to be self-aware, but not self-aware enough to decipher their intentions towards you. And the day you realize that the person who is your mentor does not actually have the best intention towards you, the love automatically switch to hatred. And that becomes very painful. That, oh, I've been doing this. I have personally, I'll tell you this, somebody who I consider as a mentor, right? You know what he said to me?
What?
He said that, because I was helping him do a few stuff, he said, Shuraim, close down your studio. And I'm like, really? Why would I close down my studio, right? Then I knew that this guy was a terrible person. Yani I had to cut him off, mashallah. In the systematic sunnatic way, I had to cut him off, and then I moved on. But you know, this is really important what you just said, and that's why I had to cut you short there, so that people understand and deep this properly. After them moving on with their lives and doing whatever they have to do, the likes of it, what advice do you give people like them? Right. So, for instance, now, I want to start a startup, right? I don't know anything. I'm bad in business. I'm coming to you. I need an advice. Habibah, I want to start up a business. What do I do?
Are you going to pay?
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes, people are not very comfortable when you ask that question, but I like that, you will get there when you get very confident to say, yes, absolutely, I'm going to pay.
Right.
Usually the first thing is, what do you want to do? And at this stage, you get a lot of people telling you brilliant ideas, but they're still working through those ideas. They have not actually refined the ideas to become a solution, and one person would say, oh, I'm trying to do X, Y, and Z, and another one is like ABC. It is the same thing, but because they haven't kind of chewed the idea down, then it seems so, how do you say, it's like grandiose, it's like so big, I'm going to go to the moon. Well, I feel like you need to start working on building a suit, like a space suit, before you talk about going to the moon, right? I want to do this solution that is going to cure hunger. Okay, but do you have enough agriculture, either commodities or the soil or the granary? Like, what is it? Like, you can't just shoot. And it's not to shut down your ideas. You have to be very realistic. In this very age that we're in, there is no new idea. Everything that you're seeing is recycled. Somebody has done it before. The difference is the personality and the delivery. So someone would probably do, Did I Know Studios? But it's never going to be, or Did You Know Studios 2.0? It's never going to be Did You Know Studios. But that's because, one, Shuraim's method is different. And secondly, how you choose to get your guests, what conversation points, how you introduce yourself, what flow is happening when you're talking. But there's no new idea. There isn't. So when people understand that, then it becomes easier to find, the road. So now you've established that your idea needs to be brought down back to earth. What are you doing? What problem are you trying to solve? Who's your target market? Those three basics. The most important question on the other side is why. Do you have a why? Why do you do this? You have your why, right?
Yeah, I have my why, of course. Yeah.
A lot of people don't have their why. The reason why that is important is because, whether you're in business or whatever, it is going to get difficult. The road is never going to be that simple. So if you have that answer, it brings you back down to earth. Remember how we said ideas need to be back down to earth?
Right.
You as the individual as well, you have to find a way to come back down to earth. That why is going to answer that. So we've done step 1, step 2, step 3. Either you talk about funding, how are you going to fund the business? How is the business going to be structured? How do you want to communicate with your audience? How do you want people to perceive it?
So I want to ask how to get funding, but before we get back there,
oh God,
before we get back there, we're going to just take a short break and be right back, inshallah.
Okay.
All right, dear viewers, as we're going on a short break, go and find your why, okay? And we'll be back, inshallah. If you find your why, perhaps you might not know, you will know how to get some funding. Stay tuned. And welcome back. We have been discussing with Habibah Waziri on a very important, topic. And before we went for the break, we're talking about finding your why, right? She doesn't mean that you should go and just sit in your room and do like this, oh my why, no. But finding the reason why you want to do something, and it's going to help you a lot. And she asked if, if I had a wife, what did you know? And I said, yes, I have a wife, of course. And she said something that all ideas have been done, right? There's, did you know there can be, did you know 2.0? Just the difference of the people who handle all this stuff. Habibah, thank you so much again.
Sure.
So let's go. I want to start a business. I need funding. I am broke. What do I do?
Okay. I swear I hear this so many times, right? But I'll give you my own personal story. Maybe that will give context. When I started this business, when I started BGR, I thought of a way to get money.
Right.
Now, as an entrepreneur, you rely on your own sources first. So I'll look at my own savings. What does it look like? I'll look at my support system. Can they contribute? I'll look at either grants or something, like what's out there. And then I'll look at partnerships as well. What are the things that are important for the business to, succeed? So, and then I'll look at getting those through partnerships. I feel like at this juncture, I have to say that I'm a believer, I'm a Muslim. So I also understand that faith plays a huge role in my life, in my activities, and everything that I do. And from where I was coming from to launching my company,
right,
it was only by the grace of Allah. Because my first gig was ready by the time the company was at CAC.
Amazing.
How it happened, I don't want to get into those details. And that was the push that I needed. That was the justification that I needed that I'm on the right path. But of course, that's not going to take you the whole year or 2 years or 3 years. It will only give you enough to start.
Right.
Then the second part was, how do I use my network, my voice, to be able to communicate the change that I want to see? What we do is very common, actually. In Abuja, there are probably top 10 companies that I can list off the top of my head that are strong competitors outside of the big 4. So I operate in a very saturated industry. When you go to Lagos, it's even like knocking the door wide open. We operate in Nigeria, Ghana, Rwanda. All those 3 locations, this same sector, working in human capital development, is saturated. So what makes it different? I knew that I was the difference. You see, when you have faith in yourself, because you believe that there is higher power, it's a different type of confidence. It's a different type of grace that you move with. You understand that challenges will come, but you also understand that the challenges are timed. So I reached out to friends, family, cousins, people. I would say to them, oh, please, I want to do this for your company, or I want to do this for your team. All I need for you is to cover my cost. Even if they don't agree to cover the cost, I'll still do it. Because guess what? Their referral is how I'll get my first paying client. I did that for a while, got a few paying clients, and we were able to cover our expenses for the year. So year 1 ended, we didn't make any profit. However, what we left with was experience. So we're able to refine the business itself to get to a point where, okay, we have a niche market, Are we targeted properly? What's our communication like? We were completely invisible in our year one. No Instagram, no LinkedIn. And believe this or not, I'm not a big fan of being out there. I get so uncomfortable when my face is everywhere, but I understand that my message is powerful. My message is important. Someone that looks like me, who comes from where I come from, deserves to be in the room that I'm in. I wholeheartedly believe in that. When I got to that stage of comfort, though it was uncomfortable, I looked at the people around me. I know how I got to where I am, but I wanted, this is a bit personal, but part of my motivation is I will introduce myself so my sister doesn't have to introduce herself. I will move around with, people and have associates, friends who are male, so that my brothers will also see the type of people they should be. As the older sibling, it is part of my responsibility. It's not just about business. It also trickles into your personal life. So however I carry myself, it's not just a reflection of who I am or where I come from or who my parents are, but it's also an indication of the type of expectations that the people that look up to me should have for themselves. So business or not, learning or not, you have to move at that pace. So again, that's part of my why. And funding or not, I knew that it was an onward trajectory. It was an onward trajectory from there on. So year one was good. Year two was difficult, very difficult, because that was the year we expanded. It was difficult. I felt very alone, because I knew my vision, but I was struggling to communicate it as well as I had it in my head. I know so many people that go through this in business, but I had to figure out why it was so difficult for me, because I was very clear with my messaging online. But how do I say it to people? How do I speak to people about it? How do they understand? So I was like, fine, we'll expand, we'll go into territories, and that uncomfort that I'm going to feel has to give me motivation to be able to come back and do better. We went to Accra. From Accra, we went to Rwanda, which is like my second home. And I kid you not, the moment you put yourself out of your comfort zone, miracles are going to happen. Because you're either going to win or you're going to learn. Those two things are they're just promises,
Either one.
Either one. Or you can get both, because you can learn and then you can win. Or you can win and then you can learn. Either one.
We're winners.
I mean, Arabi. So after that, year two, restructuring again. You have to understand that as a business owner or someone, whether you're working for someone or you own a business or you're working for the government or something, pivoting is so important. We cannot get stuck in our ways. And that's how we kept changing, fine-tuning, refining until we got to this point where I can confidently tell you that there's almost nothing in human capital development that you can put in from my front that I cannot be able to tackle. There's almost nothing when it comes to meeting, managing people, understanding people, across borders, expansion, that I'm not going to be able to tackle either. I've done it, I've tried it. The only difference is the scale or the delivery. Your scale and your delivery will be different from mine, but it's usually the same path.
I usually believe that in life journeys, you're going to meet your dream killers and your dream makers. Did you meet any of your dream killers along this way? And how did it go?
To be honest, I think that maybe it's the older sibling in me. Maybe it's how I was raised. I don't believe, I was never raised with limitations. So I don't know anything about me having to be this because either I'm female, young, unmarried. I don't believe in any of that because I was never raised with those limitations. Dream killers are going to come, and surprisingly, they will be very close to you. People that you either know or you trusted, or people that you think have your back. You don't need validity or assurance from someone else unless you don't have it within yourself. You know, you seek out because you're not settled inside.
Right.
So it's important that you first believe in yourself and you assure yourself so much. Again, resigning back to faith before you move somewhere else. The dream killers will be there. Even today, I'm sure there's one. Even tomorrow, there will be one.
You know, amazingly, right? When I started the Juno Studios and everything, I didn't know that it was gonna be. I was gonna get popular.
Is it?
Yeah, I wasn't working for that, right? Because by nature, I'm an introvert. By nature, but people don't know that. People think that, oh, this guy's an extrovert. He talks, mashallah, and likes. But for a lack of a better word, I don't like being around too many people. So usually I just stay at home, try to calm down, and I like it. But when, you know, the popularity was going and a lot of people keep coming in and the likes of it, people were saying terrible things about me sometimes. And even the closest people around me would say some crazy things about me. And I'm like, but you're my closest friend, you know, why would you say such and such about me? So I wasn't able to understand that. And it took me like a long while until when recently we moved to Meng said to me that, Shuraim, you need to understand that what you're doing, not everyone is doing it. And yes, you're going to make mistakes, but when you make that mistakes, appreciate them and then move on and change them. When other people speak about you, just give a blind eye to them. And sometimes you need to cut people, it's necessary to cut people and move on. And I got to realize that, oh no, I need to do this more, I need to understand this. So what you just said now, a lot of people my age, right? I'm not up to 30. People don't know that.
What?
Yeah, I'm not up to 30. So people think that I'm up to 30. Some think I'm maybe up to 35 or something. But I've been able to work, you know, for a long time because I lost my dad when I was 6 years old. And then we are 7 in the house. And I'm the second to the last one. So my mom made sure that, see, you guys must be up and doing. So everybody in the house had something they were doing. My sisters were very focused, hardworking, my brothers. So just the way you're talking about how, you know, you want your younger ones to look at you and be what you are right now. And when they say your name, they don't even need to say their name. I had that personally. And that really went a long way in making me the kind of man I became. So sometimes when I go through some certain stuff, I'm like, oh, wow, how can I deal with this? So now I'm the only popular person in my house, right? And my siblings don't understand the popularity thingy. So it became a bit difficult on how to find ease, what to do. Oh, this person said this. Oh, Shuraim meache kaza, Shuraim meache kaza. So it was just crazy, right? Yeah. But alhamdulillah, over the past few years, I've gotten to understand that you just need to move on because dream killers will continue to exist.
They will.
So it's what you just said is highly profound for me.
Yeah.
Personally, it's highly profound.
First of all, I can't believe.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, you know, Takeda Williams asked me to talk about myself a bit, so I'm just trying. It's very uncomfortable, but
listen,
yeah, alhamdulillah.
You know what? I think that along the way, right, in life, you always meet people that either are living parallel lives, like you. You never, I've met you several times. I've been to several One Ummah conferences, you know, you guys should bring Zakir Naik, seriously. At this point, I'm tired. I'm tired. I need to see him in person, you know. But every time I meet, you know, it's like, okay, sure, you know. But we never interact. Yeah. Just because, why would we? But some of the things that you're also saying, I understand it more than I can even talk about. Right. Because it's just the nature of who you are and the nature of who I am. But it's so interesting. Oh, I wish my brother was here. I really wish my brother was here. This is so inspiring.
Amazing. Thank you so much. You know, let me just ask another question, right? Sure. I know you've done so much work for companies, for people and likes of it. Has there been any time whereby you just realized that, just the way you said, right? Some things you need to understand there's a higher power. But if it's not too personal, can you share an experience that you've gone through personally that you realize like Allah Nana, like God really exists. Like wow,
What?
God is real.
I don't
God
think we have
really
time.
exists. Oh, we don't have much time,
I
yeah.
don't think we have time. I don't
But you've gone through that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, tell me, okay, if we don't have time to talk about that, like, tell me,
Okay.
how was the experience for you? How did you feel knowing that sometimes not everyone will understand what you're going through, not everyone you can talk to, but Allah understands.
Yeah.
And He makes life easy for you. And He looks into your heart. He doesn't care about your imperfection. He doesn't care about what you do. He just know that, okay, see, I created you and I'm there for you. How did you feel?
Relief.
Yeah.
You see, when you're going through something, words can't describe it.
100%.
Even your emotions sometimes will confuse you because you'll be feeling so many things at the same time.
Right.
There's a relief, whether you're able to bow down and pray at that very moment or not, there's a relief that comes with knowing somebody else can see and understand more than even I can understand. And it's like, how do you say, like a big hug.
Yeah, very
You know,
consoling.
you feel safe, you feel secure, you feel at ease. Yes, the pain is still there, it exists, or the discomfort is there and it exists, but you also understand that it is only for a particular time. There's no peace more than that.
Wallah.
You know?
I really can relate to that. I really can relate.
What's that verse? Almost everybody's favorite verse. Verily after hardship.
إِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا.
Verily after hardship comes.
You know, for me, right, one of the, and I'm gonna say this, and inshallah, actually one other question, and then end the show for today. But this is therapeutic for me, by the way.
Okay.
Alhamdulillah. 2017, when I was done with university, I got a phone call, and when I got the phone call, the guys was like, "Hello, I'm calling you from the embassy of Saudi Arabia. You've been invited to come and perform Hajj." I called the call. I thought it was a scam. So they then called me again, and they were like, because in university, everyone was asking me, what will you do after this? What will you do after this? And everyone, I was telling them that I just want to go for Hajj. I just want to go speak to Allah, tell Him my problems, right? Tell Him that this is what I'm done with uni now. I want to go do A, B, C, and D, right? So everybody was asking me, what do you want to do? I said, Hajj, Hajj, Hajj. And then people know that I love to chill. I don't like, stress a lot. That's how Allah made me. So I like to just chill. So even the business I do, they are not too stressful, mashallah. They are very calm. So I was like, I want to go for Hajj, a nice Hajj and the likes of it. And I got another phone call. And they said, hello, in Arabic. And they said, what's your name? Are you Shuraim? I said, yeah, I'm Shuraim. They said, okay, you've been invited. In Arabic, they say, Anta Dayful Qadim Haramain Sharifain, which means that you have been invited as a guest of the King of Saudi Arabia to perform Hajj. At that point as well, I said, this is a scam. And I got the phone again.
Again?
Yeah, because who am I, a king, to invite me? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up.
Okay.
I don't know if you get that. For me, at that point.
For you, at that point.
Yeah, at that point, it was like, it is not adding up. How will the king of Saudi Arabia invite me to come and perform Hajj? But I didn't know that it was a program, it was a real program. And they come the third time again. And then I knew it was real. And the moment I arrived Saudi Arabia, subhanallah, that was my first time flying business first class.
Mashallah.
So it went really well, and alhamdulillah, I got to enter the Kaaba and the likes of it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did.
God,
so for me, that was
so jealous.
like the most amazing moment in my life. And when I went to Saudi Arabia, I said to Allah, I said, Ya Allah, I don't have a father. I don't know who to seek advice from. I've given you my life. Please control it. I said to Allah, I said, I'm not perfect. I will do crazy stuff. I'm still a young person. But Ya Allah, just guide me. Please guide me. I'm an introvert. I don't know what to do. Now I'm done with university. Allah, guide me. And ever since till today, Allah has been guiding me. And Allah sent me the most amazing mentor ever, Mufti Menk. And we have been together for 7 years. And he has been like guiding me till today. Like every day we speak, he's that father figure. You get my point? And even meeting him was like crazy. Like, Mufti, like, are you sure? Like, all this stuff happened, and that's when I realized that, see, nothing is impossible.
Yeah.
All you need to do is to be sincere, achieve what you want to do, and that for me, that really went a long way,
Yeah.
man. And that has really helped me to become the kind of person I am today when it comes to faith, and that's why I tell a lot of people that to attain spirituality, you don't need to forget your humanness. You need to appreciate how human you are, how vulnerable you are, and it brings you closer to the one whom you worship, right? And because even Allah said that, if you don't sin, then I'll bring people and replace you with those who will, right? So for me, it's really deep, such kind of stuff. So what you're saying really resonates with me. But before I end, I need to ask this question, even though Tekena is telling me that it's a few minutes to go.
Ahead.
But I need to ask this question, right? What's your idea of friendship?
Wow. Okay. I think friendship, actually not I think, I'm sorry. I know friendship is trust. It is loyalty. It is comfort. It is honesty. And it's like a village. I think friendship is a two-way street. And it's not equal. It's not of equal parts. Yes, the two ways are there.
Right.
But we also are, you don't have to be equals all the time. One can do more than the other.
Have you lost a friend before?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. First of all, I'm over 30. So, yes, losing friends
It's normal.
is normal. And it's a sad thing to say because you build a life, you build habits, you build memories, and for that to not exist anymore, it's like death, but the person is still alive. And that's a different type of grief. But in that, remember what I talked about, either you win or you learn. That's a learning point.
So moving on become bittersweet.
Yes, it does. Because you see reminders of your friendship with someone. And after a while, like everything, like every type of pain, it fades away.
Wow.
So there's hope,
Inshallah.
Yeah,
Inshallah.
there's hope.
Thank you so much, Habibah. Any last words?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much.
This was wonderful. I'm so glad that my sister and my friend are here. This is perfect. So I don't have to tell them the story again.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. For me, why I interview people is that I really want to learn from them, and I love to listen to people, and I feel that this is the best mentorship I can get as well from your experience and on millions of people who are going to be watching this program. So for me, this is therapy enough, and I hope that Allah makes this beneficial.
Ameen.
And I hope that and pray to Allah that this is going to be in your record even when you return back to Allah.
Ameen, ya Rabbi.
Thank you so much, Habibah.
Thank
With
you.
the H.
With the H.
All right, viewers, alhamdulillah, we'll come to the end of this episode. For me, this was really, really, really deep. And alhamdulillah, for the first time, I got to share some stuff in my the program. Thank you so much all for coming on, for listening, and also try to share this with other people. Sometimes while we talk about our stories, for you to understand and to also know that you're not alone in the struggle. It's difficult. It's going to get real, especially for the young generation today, ourselves. I'm not going to talk about those who are above 30. Let's talk about those who are in their 20s still. But yeah, it's very difficult, especially now whereby no true mentorship, no true friendship and everything. But you know something, Allah is with you. He loves you. He understands you, and always turn back to Him. On the next episode, I leave you all in the care of the most gracious, the most merciful. Assalamu alaikum.